like to show you, just so you kind of know how we can predict these markets. The biggest thing that I've learned is the Dow Jones Transportation Index. Okay, so this is the transportation index. Why the transportation index? Is because we all buy products, and the products have to be shipped. And so if there's a lot of products that's being bought, then there's a lot of demand for transportation. So buying the transportation index during that time frame is beneficial because it's going to go up in price because everyone wants to ship something and everyone wants to receive something. When people stop ordering products, that usually means that they're beginning to run out of money. And that means that the transportation index is less in demand. And so it kind of shows what's going to happen in the future as a result. Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah.
So when it breaks a very strong line that has been touched by multiple points, like this one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then it broke, usually what happens is that it goes back to the place of origin.
Which is before the coronavirus.
Yeah. Well, actually, it was the coronavirus. So it usually goes back to that point. So obviously, it wouldn't go back to here because then it wouldn't be a straight line, right? But it'll go back to the straight line from the multiple touch points. Sometimes, normally. I mean, we might be wrong. You know, it's possible for it to not do that as well. Another way to look at it, you can do the Fibonacci retracement and take all the way to the top, and it might just stop there. And if that's the case, then great. Then, you know, the markets can continue to soar. But I personally believe that there's going to be a massive collapse of some sort, of like 50% type thing, where everyone just runs out of cash except for those that have treasury bonds with the government, because the government has to pay the money to the people that have treasury bonds, right? And they're paying now $1 trillion in interest every year, more than the Department of Defense. And so it's not sustainable. And so there comes a point where we just don't have any money. Like the US dollar just evaporates for the middle class and the poor, which is the majority makeup of those that actually produce, both produce and buy products. So, but I also believe that this is part of the plan for it to tank by 50%, so that a lot of people who are massively leveraged in the stock market and in real estate and in other investments, that all of that needs to be wiped out. So people are forced to sell very cheaply, because like they've been riding the wave of the past 5 years of money printing, right? And also the past 50 years of the dollar being severed from the gold. And that needs to be wiped out temporarily. And the reason why I'm saying temporarily is because everyone's going to panic, including the politicians. And once it has crashed by 30, 40, 50%, and people are freaking out, and banks are going under, and people are losing their homes, they're losing their vehicles, they're losing their jobs, etc., that's when the money printer starts turning on, and when we'll be at the final leg of the hyperinflation bubble that the US is in. And that hyperinflation situation could take 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, but it's just that the money printer is going to be turned on again because we just ran out of cash. Does that kind of make sense? Because like the last thing the politicians want is a 50 to 80 to 95% collapse where no one is spending any money because there's just no access to it.
So you think there's going to be a collapse and then hyperinflation, which is going to, but then isn't this going to result in a bigger collapse?
Well, yeah, but it will be a melt up collapse. And what that means is that all the fiat currencies will just completely go to zero where people are not, like, they don't want papers. They don't want paper dollars anymore. And I think what I think is going to happen is, one, we're gonna make it so that we run out of dollars, banks are going to collapse, and people are going to believe that, oh, it's not safe to have your money in the bank anymore. And that's when the government comes to the rescue and says, hey, we've got these CBDCs. You just need to download this app on your phone and we'll send you $200 or we'll give you $2,000. Like, they can print it, right? And so everyone's going to be like, oh, okay, I downloaded the government app now, and this is how I pay for stuff. And so I personally think that they're trying to make the government the bank, because then they can decide who gets shut out financially from the system and who doesn't. And it's a centralized way of governing money. And the reason why they would do that is so that they have full control. And why do they want full control? Is because they don't have control over the crime and criminals and all that stuff. And they always need these reports from the banks, and they need this and they need that. And so they want to have that control. So I personally think that's what's going to happen. But during that time frame, there's probably going to be 50% of people that just completely reject it and don't want anything to do with it. And so as they pour money into the system through CBDCs, people are going to say no to it. Half of the people are going to say no to it. And that's going to turn the spigot on for other assets. Like, they're going to receive the CBDC and then spend it, get rid of it, because it's not worth anything. And that's when the hyperinflation happens, because the government thought that they could introduce a new thing, but people don't trust the government anymore. The melt up happens because people get rid of dollars. They don't want dollars anymore. And so what do they do with it? They buy anything that is hard, any hard assets that are available. So gold and silver is going to go through the roof. Bitcoin is going to go through the roof. Ethereum, like other cryptos that actually have value. People won't, they'll be scared to invest in risky projects, but in the ones that are proven, they're going to invest in them, in my opinion. Real estate's going to go up. Land's going to massively go up. Guns, bullets, all that stuff is going to go up. Food prices is going to go up. Stock market is also going to go up, but probably slower than the rate of inflation. So people that, if that makes sense. But at the same time, that everything that people can get hold on that has some form of value, people will go towards that instead of the US dollar or their own fiat currencies. And that's the melt up. And so first, 50% discount on cool assets, and then a 10x or 100x on those specific assets. So everyone who has assets, they're going to benefit. But those that sold or had to sell during the collapse, they're the ones that are going to sit with the bag. Like, or in other words, sit with their, in Norway, we say, with their beard in the post box, or whatever it's called. So that's my thought process based on the charts, based on everything that I know about economics and financials and stuff like that, what I've studied over the past 15 years. But again, I might be wrong. We might go straight to the melt up. Maybe there's a small, tiny crash of 10%, 20%, and the politicians freak out, and then they put on the printer. But they've been increasing the interest rate to almost 5% now. So, like, they're putting themselves in a rock and a hard place, because interest rate go up, then there's no money to go around. Some gold and silver, I think that would be a good investment at this time. If someone travels a lot, I'd probably just go for Bitcoin. But Bitcoin is going to tank a lot during that time frame, so that the governments and BlackRock and all those big companies has the chance to buy it at discount, right? So for those people that stack it, if Bitcoin is real, I mean, you don't know. Like, it might be something that the government invented so that everyone goes into that, and then it just stops functioning. Like, you never know. I personally think if it is actually the real deal, then Satoshi literally saved humankind, and he was the biggest genius of all time, and he deserves all the credit. But Satoshi could be the government. You know, like, let's give it to the libertarians, the grassroots movement, and then just let them build it. And then let's see what happens, you know, because now they can track all of our transactions with it, right? So, but if it's cool, if it's legit, then amazing. Real estate is always going to be great, simply because there's not enough. And if you have a rental and you have a positive cash flow on it, and it's a either if it's yours fully or the bank owns it, there are, the vast majority of the time you'll be fine as long as you have a fixed interest rate. If you have a variable interest rate, you might be screwed, because the variable interest rate causes the loan to go up massively at the same time as inflation. So, but yeah, land is fantastic investment at this time as well, because there's a lot of people who's going to move out from the cities because of all the panic and commotion and stuff like that, and they're going to go out and, I want to live a simple life. And so as a result, they'll take their money and they'll buy land wherever they can and have a homestead of some sort and build communities, etc. So that's where I think the money's going to go. Also, anything that's a hard asset. Does that kind of make sense? Is that logical framework?
Yeah, I have seen other people say similar things. But it's interesting that you pointed to the charts, and that's something you do as a hobby, right?
Yeah, I love trading, unfortunately and fortunately. I mean,
So it's good to hear opinion from someone that's not taking opinion from other, like, content creators or people
yeah,
in the
I mean,
internet
this is
that,
research, right? I mean, this is taking all of the stuff that I hear from content creators and from reading books and from, you know, speaking to people and just understanding the markets in general, and just combining. And like I mentioned, I could be wrong, but it's just like from what the charts are saying and from human psychology and from how politicians usually behave in difficult time periods and they just want to be reelected. It's kind of set up for a natural situation. Like, you can't say that gold and silver is going to go down in price. And if it does, which it probably will, as I've kind of predicted now, it's only because of the crash. But the crash is short-lived. It's like, if we were to crash the debt bubble pricks and they don't print money, you know what actually happens? Like, we will go down by like 95%. Like, everything is going to be wiped out. Like, stuff is not going to have any more value. But the dollar is going to start having value again. So that's unlikely. I mean, they spent 50 years destroying it completely for them to like, oh yeah, let's put it back into place